for the road. Coffee with Charlie, but sipping Pampatron. Life very sweet.
We're here with the lovely Tammy Exquisite from Exquizite Tingz Podcast.
Boom, it is the POET of this rap shit, Charlie the Poet, representing for the overworked, underpaid, and most importantly, the real. And welcome to my podcast, Coffee with Charlie, where we sip the finest coffee and have the dopest convos. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Keep the thing up and alive. Now, you already know we got to give a special shout out to our sponsors for today's episode, Flavorful Brews, where their goal is to elevate your coffee and tea experience while making a positive impact on the world. The link will be in the description below, and you could use the code POET for 10% off. POET for 10% off. Now, today on the podcast, we're tapping in with a real voice in the culture. Someone who's not just watching the moves being made in music and media, but breaking them down with precision and passion. We got the creator of Exquizite Tingz Podcast, Tammy Exquisite. Wagwan.
Hey, I'm a day, man.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you. You know, it's
Thank you for
very
having me.
important. It's very important to, cross brand, network, because at the end of the day, content is king. And every day
Definitely.
is a new opportunity to gain one more fan. So let's just start off with an icebreaker. You being from Jamaica, growing up, were you team Gully or Gaza?
Definitely a Gaza girl. Definitely a Gaza girl. And if you knew me growing up, you would know why I said that. I have a couple of tattoos that would illustrate that. Definitely a Gaza girl.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Where exactly in Jamaica are you from?
I'm from Kingston.
From Kingston. Okay. So it's safe to say that you've seen basically the influence and impact of Gaza firsthand.
Firsthand, I mean, Kartel was one of those artists that made me truly fall in love with dancehall from an early age. So definitely.
For sure. And I could definitely say the same thing. I'm from Antigua, huge Gaza and Gully influence. Everybody was, blasting the tunes and, listening to the mixes, so on and so forth. Just from your perspective, especially with him being out now, what's your opinion on his influence on dancehall and the light that he's bringing back?
I mean, Kartel has first of all, he transformed dancehall, in my opinion. When he came out, he basically kicked down doors, break down barriers, make we know so we could have be with self. A lot of things that other artists were bashing. He said, "No man, we don't love this, so why not cuss it?" You understand? So he was definitely one of those, even though he not claim it, but he was one of the first influencers in a Jamaica. Before we even had influencers, it was Vybz Kartel influencing us. So he definitely has a great impact. Even now, where we see he came out and is a whole different him. He's transformed his image, and I think that's one of the best things he could have done for his image right now in this time, is to come out and not go back to what some of what he was known for. Because imagine Vybz Kartel come out now at his age, still a preach badness, still a run down them type of thing. Do you understand? So definitely big impact on the culture.
For sure. And, life is all about evolution. So it's definitely good to see that he's elevated and, changed his perspective and things of that nature. I was also speaking to some friends the other day. We were just saying how it's ironic that Vybz Kartel was able to stand the test of times because he was influential before social media.
Right. Very
So,
much so.
so for him to still have that impact and be considered a legend is truly amazing.
He definitely had the formula and him work with it. Definitely.
Absolutely. So, all right, so let's talk about you now. So, of course, we did our homework. You hold a marketing degree, aspirations in journalism. How have these academic pursuits shaped your approach to content creation?
It's funny that you would say aspirations in journalism, because I don't necessarily have an aspiration to go into journalism.
Okay.
But the other day I was editing one of my videos. I say, oh, me sound so like a journalist. Oh, me sound so like me have a can't one of them spaces for entertainment reporter or one of them places. But um I like to be in the background of things. I like to research. Even know what I'm doing now, I'm just doing it because, we have to do what we do until we can do what we want to do. But so it's not necessarily journalism, it's more PR and marketing is what I want to do. I want to manage influencers, artists, and even businesses in a marketing perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you also do a good job just in like your overall presentation because like I said, your video just appeared in my algorithm. I saw it and instantly I was like, this is somebody I need to connect with, right?
Right, right.
Because it's sometimes first impressions are so important, and if you really do put the work into your content, it's gonna attract people. You never
Right.
know who's watching. So, what inspired you to start Exquisite Tingz, and how does it align with your career goals?
So first and foremost, the word exquisite. It came about because I had three friends. It was three of us, and we used to party a lot, and we used to promote parties as well. And when we used to go out, this one time a man came up to us and said, "Oh, these lovely ladies, you're so exquisite." And then at the time, I was about, I think, 19, and it was the first time I was hearing that word. I googled it and I realized what it meant. I said, "Oh, I like this." So I made it my brand. I made that into my brand, and so I say, anything I'm going to do, it is going to be my brand.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So how long have you been doing podcasting?
I started in, I think, March of last year. I started in March of last year.
Okay, so basically just a little over a year. And then how's the journey been thus far?
Well, I started off doing like lifestyle content, then I started doing social content, and then I feel like I found my niche now in the marketing because that's where I really have a background. And just recently started doing the series where I break down artist marketing strategies and so forth in February, the end of February, and this is working for me now, so I think this is where I'm gonna stay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Very nice, very nice. So, well, like you said, you don't necessarily have an aspiration for journalism. You kind of want to be in the background, the PR stuff, the marketing stuff. Um, so let's move on to your passion in dancehall. So your love for dancehall is evident in your content. What sparked the passion?
So I am a lover of music overall. I love music. If you are in the car with me and you hear what comes up on my playlist, you would say, "Where you know that song they from?" So I love music in general. As I said before, I'm in this space where I live in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, and the same cartel has come out of prison and he's bringing back that vibe, that notoriety to dance also. That is why I'm basically here doing the dancehall thing right now. But I'm a music lover, love music, lover of music, all
Okay,
music.
right. That's very good to hear because
Mhm.
the game is changing. You don't want to stay stuck in the box. So
Right.
definitely, eventually, we can look forward to see more broader topics
Other
covered
things.
on Exquisite Things.
Right.
That's what's up. That's what's up. But you being a fan of music, right? How do you balance being a fan with maintaining objectivity in your analysis?
Well, I think one of the main reasons I said I wanted to maintain objectivity is because I like being right. And how would I look if I came on the internet spewing opinions and feelings? I'd be back and forth debating with people, right?
Right,
So
for sure.
I'm someone who loves to do my research. I love to make sure that whatever I'm putting out, whatever I'm talking about, it is completely objective so that even if somebody don't like me or you don't like the person I'm talking about, you still are gonna say a true share talk. That makes sense. That's facts. You understand? So I like being right and I don't like debating topics. So I'm going to remain objective.
I hear that. I hear
Mhm.
that. So man, so it sounds like you put a lot of hours into research.
A lot
Um,
of hours.
if you could give us just like an estimate, like about how much time actually goes into one of your videos.
Well, when I am doing my research and so I think this is a process. So I think about the artists that I'm going to talk about, and then I say, all right, what is happening in this artist's life, or what happening in the scene with this artist, and then I go down a rabbit hole. I go down a rabbit hole and I research and I research and I research and I bounce things off of ChatGPT. That is my favorite right now. I bounce things off of ChatGPT, and then it can take up to about 6 hours to just do research and think about, and then editing and videoing is another thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all the viewers, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment, because a lot of work and a lot of effort is put into these videos. And if you want to see more content, you got to support the content creators.
Right.
So Tammy, can you share a moment where you had to be brutally honest in your critique, even if it was tough?
I am naturally a brutally honest person. If you speak to any of my friends, they'll tell you that I'm naturally a brutally honest person. But for the spaces that I want to be in and, digital footprint and all of that, I decided not to come on the internet like that. Before, there was this time I was doing, you remember when Jada Kingdom and Steph London was at it?
Yeah.
Do you remember that saga? And I was speaking about Jada Kingdom. I love Jada Kingdom down, love her down. And I always felt like Jada Kingdom could do and be successful at what Shensia is trying to do now. Always said that. Um, but when it came on to she and Steph London and this self pum pum argument and all of that, I didn't like that, so I had to talk about it. I had to come out and say, you know what, focus on your music. This don't look good for your brand, all of that, because I never really, I didn't like that. But I quickly realized that me feel leave people business alone, because the people them dragged me. There was a lot of people who love Jada Kingdom.
Right.
Them dragged me online, me I tell you.
Yeah,
But yeah,
sometimes
that was one time.
that comment section can be brutal.
Right. The internet is scary. So me just leave that alone.
Yeah. It has its pros and cons.
Right.
Definitely has its pros and cons. All right, so I want to transition into some of your content, because like I said, you have a lot of good content. I definitely fully support it. Let's go to the Chronic Law, the God of Pain. What drew you to Chronic Law's narrative style?
Chronic Law has a very unique style, especially in today's day where we have young men, young black men who don't really have an avenue, because they with them woman we are telling for wall up them stress, or they have friends that they cannot really talk to because they might go tell them, so yeah, go on like a girl or whatever. So when Chronic Law came in, and he came with this style where it's like him a pour him heart out, but him a show you say you still can, have your badness and the demeanor where people can say, all right, you're rough, but you're still in tune with your emotions. And I really like that about him. In 2023, I really thought if there was any award, La Boss should I get Artist of the Year. Every ghetto youth therapist that.
Agreed.
Really love his style.
Definitely, Chronic Law is definitely one of my favorite dancehall artists too. Big up to Chronic Law. So you being in Kingston, right? Maybe you can shed some light on this. Does the dancehall lovers in Jamaica acknowledge the subgenres? So, like for example, here in New York, we would say that Tommy Lee and Araja Wild, they do gothic dancehall. We'll say that a Skilly Bang does trap dancehall. A Chronic Law will do more like you said, like that therapeutic type of dance. So do you guys acknowledge those subgenres, or do you all kind of still just look at it as dancehall?
We actually don't. This is the first time I'm hearing about subgenres and how you broke it down like that. Everything is dancehall to us. So
Got it.
you're either badman dancehall artist or gimmick dancehall artist or melodic dancehall artist, but everything a dancehall. I've never
Copy.
heard it being broken down like that before.
Yeah, I guess people just kind of like to differentiate certain sounds, and
Right.
especially for the artists that are inspired by certain dancehall artists, that they kind of like gear towards certain sounds, so they'll just like put a name on it, I guess, for different engineers to identify, so on and so forth.
That's
But let's talk about Shensia, right? So your analysis of Shensia's crossover struggle was compelling. What do you think led to the public's perception of her departure from the dancehall roots?
It's not actually a perception. In the video in my video, I put a B-roll where she was actually on her live, and there was a comment of someone saying, "Can you do more dancehall music?" And she actually said, "Not at this time. She's experimenting into other things." And I mean, as an artist, you're gonna be creative and experiment in other things, but you still have to remember your core audience. You still have to remember the people who saw you, who made you who you are, and who put you in places. The fans. So I don't think um her completely doing away with dancehall at that point in time was a good move.
Yeah, do you think that maybe there was like a misunderstanding by the music label? She
I
probably
think
tried
so.
to turn her pop way too soon.
Way too soon. Way too soon. Because as I said, you look at artists like Burna Boy, hardcore African Afrobeats artist. He didn't cross over into the US and say, "All right, mega start." Pop, he still stayed true to his core. So too Spice and every other artist that crossed over and made it successful in a short amount of time.
Right. But we're seeing the comeback of Shensi, and she's definitely still bringing
Definitely,
that dancehall
definitely,
flair. So we look
definitely.
forward
She
to hear
came
more
back to her roots.
for sure. And her performance with Vybz Kartel at the Barclays, that was legendary.
That was legendary. Legendary, may I tell you. But
Yes, dancehall back on the rise. And last but not least, Joshy's rebranding. What elements do you believe contributed to his successful transition in the industry?
I think Joshi coming up young is a young, because I think he's 22, 23 now.
Yeah,
If
about
he's
that.
old. So when he started out, he was very young. You just bust, you have this crowd around you, the hype, all of that. So now I feel like he's around more seasoned artists. He's around more type of mentorship kind of artists who can really steer him the right way and tell him how to operate and what he needs to do. And I also see him tapping into reggae, which we just feel like it fit him. It fit him. So the collab with Lila Ike, Bad, I really feel like a theme genre that. So I think that is what is mainly contributing to his transition.
Absolutely, I agree. Him just kind of doing more heartfelt music. And it was
Right.
interesting too, right? Because we've seen him enter the game with Skang and doing like a lot of those gunman songs. And then for him to kind of make that pivot and
Right.
kind of go towards like that reggae sound, I think, like you said, that's
It's
that's
working.
it's definitely working. It's
And
definitely
he's a
working.
soulful artist, because people will tell you that when he's performing, he's shouting and whatever, but it's passion. You can navigate and reel it in a bit, but it's passion. He's very much soulful.
Absolutely. Shout out to Joshy. Shout out to Joshy. So, as a fan, what qualities do you look for in a song or artist?
In a song, and this might sound away, but I listen first the rhythm, because I realize that a lot of songs that we love the rhythm first, even if it not make the song not make sense. And when you look back on the lyrics and you say, "Oh, I Google the lyrics to see if I can catch a song," and you say, "What kind of song this?" But it pop because you hear the rhythm. And when you look at the creative process of like the Stephen McGregor them and how them build them rhythms and so forth, I look at nice, good, decent rhythms first and then me listen to the words, honestly. So if the rhythm bad, me clock on to it and then me start listen to the words.
Right. So production is very important.
Production is very important. And in artists, I like when you stay your authentic self. Whatever perception is out there of you, commit to it. That is what made Vybz Kartel, who is now Alkaline, everybody were big. Commitment. Commit to the perception the public have of you. So that's what
Absolutely.
I look for
I
into
I
artists.
agree.
Mhm.
And okay, so are you aware that dancehall has spread to other Caribbean islands? Like, we got, of course, Trinidad. Everybody knows about Trinidad, but are you aware that there's dancehall in Antigua and all these other islands?
Wow, I did not even know. Last night I was asking somebody about that. I didn't know. I know about like calypso and so forth, but did not know. But I know the impact that dancehall has on the world, most too in the Caribbean.
Absolutely. Can you speak towards the past criticisms of the genre's influence on the youth?
I think to be completely unbiased, dancehall does have an influence on the youth. I guess it has more to do with their upbringing and the parenting that will make them differentiate. Oh, me can sing a bad man song, but that means say I have to be a bad man. And it also has to do with education, how educated the generation is in knowing what might sound simple, but what is right from wrong in terms of, So dancehall has an impact, does have an impact, but it's not the only thing impacting whatever youths do negatively or positively.
Agreed. But would you agree that once an artist does reach some sort of fame or prominence, they should kind of take accountability into gearing the generation into a much more positive path?
I think it's hard to put that amount of pressure on an artist because they are singing about their environment, their experiences, they're creating art. They're not telling you to do this. They're not telling, just like Vybz Kartel said, if you look to me to be a role model for your kids, you have already lost in
Absolutely.
life, right? So, I mean, yes, they can if it's something that they really want to do, if they feel like they want to go into advocacy or whatever. But for now, they're creating art, and I don't think it should be at the forefront for them. I don't think so, honestly.
Very well said. Very well said. And lastly, with all the knowledge that you have about, music industry, the things that go into marketing, so on and so forth, and also just based on the research that you've done on so many different artists, with the current climate that dancehall is in now, do you believe signing to a major label offers more opportunities, or is staying independent the better route for artists today?
I think there are multiple factors because if we even look back into the past and how artists have gone platinum, sell out stadiums under labels, and they'll come and say, "But I'm broke," and then you see the independent artists who work them way up and make a name for themselves. So I think that if you have the capital and if you have the backing and persons around you who can propel you, and if you can propel yourself, stay independent. If you must and if you need help, you can sign to a label, but make sure you have a lawyer where go through the contract with a fine teeth comb and not just sign away your life.
Agreed. Very well said. I also do want to get your opinion. Since we're speaking on label and staying independent, have you looked into Skilly Bang's career? And do you have any opinion on how his label kind of positioned him? Because I'll tell you my perspective really quickly. I feel
Mhm.
like when Skilly Bang first broke out, especially when I was put on to Skilly Bang, he was very lyrical, kind of reminded you of that old school dancehall. And then when he
Right.
signed, it's kind of like his lyrics dumbed down. It works though, right? Because he got the hit song "Wop Wop Wop." But now it just kind of feels like they're positioning him to just be a feature artist on all these songs that are popping on TikTok. Kind of feels like the label is kind of just pushing him to look, just whatever the next TikTok hit is, we just need a chorus on it. Drop four bars.
And that's another thing that labels do is like they dumb down your creativity. And but I heard Skillibeng say though on an interview that he kind of changed his sound because he realized that how he used to DJ a lot of people. For him to go ahead and inject into the international markets, a lot of persons didn't understand what he was saying. So he kind of dumbed down what he was doing. So I'm not sure if it was the label or anything like that.
Okay, very interesting. But it makes sense because at the end of the day, when you are chasing that international success, you want to make sure that your music is commercialized, and that's
Right.
something that Vybz Kartel has touched upon, in his many interviews.
Yeah.
So, looking ahead, what are your aspirations for Exquizite Tingz in the next few years?
Well, Exquizite Tingz is going on a venture where I am becoming a publicist. I am going to start my PR and marketing consultancy firm. I just spoke to my first client today. I'm so excited about that, to be working with that type of creator. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to right now.
Very
Starting
nice.
my consultancy company.
Very nice. Congratulations. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes, guys, follow me. Subscribe to my channels, engage with my posts. And because, as you said, a lot of work goes into it. And I'm also grateful for all of you who are always following me, encouraging me, and all of that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And thank you for bringing me on your platform. I am so thankful for that, grateful. This is what creators need to do. We need to collab and, bring audience to each other.
Absolutely. And thank you for, being an awesome guest. Like you said, it's great cross branding. We are definitely in this together. I spoke to Shawnee B, and he definitely enlightens me, man. In this business, we're kind of all like independent contractors at the end of the day, right? And we're
Right.
co-workers. So, each one teach one. We all got the same goal. So definitely
Right.
big up to Exquizite Tingz. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah,
People,
man.
hope you enjoyed. This was a quick one. Good coffee, great convo, and we're out.
It's your girl Tammy Exquisite, and I just want to say big up to Coffee with Charlie. We're there upon the scene. Get your coffee.
Yes, I.
Straight
Big
to the
up, big
door.
up. Thank
Ready
you.
for the road.
Appreciate you.
Coffee
Blessings.
with Charlie, but sipping Pampatron. Life very sweet, dog. Make we take a toast. Toast to the rich life, never back poor. Take a cup of cruise round the world, we a tour. Ben soon skate pan the tour. Every day me hustle like a more. Money pan money till money in galore. Shop online, couldn't catch me in a store. I just a life where we live the whole team full of bass, we a king. Now make the bullet hit the fire pin. Tell them man a stone, we a fling PG, don't